That's the first supercharger here in Norway. We are at Jaren Spitterberg. It's near Oslo and it's empty. Well, so what about the density of Teslas here in Norway? What is my impression? Well, I have seen a lot. Yeah, to be honest, yeah. Well, Norway is still topping Denmark. Yeah, at the beginning I thought, it's more or less the same, but then in Oslo there were a lot of Teslas. Yeah, and sometimes I made a short count. Out of 20 cars on the highway, 6 were Teslas. That's incredible. And sometimes you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in a row which are Teslas, and that's not possible in any other country, I think, in the world. And they have a lot of superchargers here, so it's no wonder that it's not completely full. We are back from Norway in Sweden at the supercharger in Falkenberg. Yeah, it's quite nice here. There are about 10 stalls or a little bit more, and we have here restaurants nearby, Max and also McDonald's. So yeah, it's a nice site. It's I would give it 5 of 5 stars. It's our last Tesla supercharger in Denmark. It's Schweden, and yeah, well, there are about 20 superchargers here, and it's also some restaurant and petrol station. So yes, it's a nice spot. Yeah, it's nearly empty. This is the Tesla supercharger at Busdorf, and well, yeah, there are about 15 chargers. It's quite empty, and we have a restaurant nearby, a Burger King, and a gasoline station. So yes, well, that's quite nice here. So I would give it also 5 of 5 stars for this location. It's 8:30 in the morning on our second day back to Spain, and we are here at the supercharger at Lohne, and yeah, about 15 stalls here. It's very empty, a few Teslas here, and we have a nice shopping center nearby with yeah, and also gasoline station to buy some stuff. So okay, I would give this also 5 of 5 stars. Yeah. This is the supercharger in Verviers in Belgium, and yes, that is the worst supercharger location I have seen so far. It is about 5 kilometers from the motorway, and yeah, it's very complicated to get here, and then it's at a hotel, inside the parking of the hotel. Yeah, it's I mean, the supercharger should be at the motorway and not 5 kilometers away, and yeah, it was very complicated to get here. Very small streets here, and yeah. In France now at the supercharger at Valenciennes, and on our way to Copenhagen we already stopped here. So yeah, it's a nice place, and it has a hotel nearby, and you can use the restrooms of the hotel, so it's okay. If you wonder what was the total amount of kilometers we did in the trip so far, it was to Oslo about 3,500 kilometers more or less. And yes, I will give the statistics in a short presentation at the end of the video, so that you can see what was the total cost of the charging and hotels and things like this. Yeah, just for information. We are also again in Chantilly, on the way to Copenhagen. We already passed here. It's not so nice site here. It's there are some chargers, but no services around. So it's definitely not the supercharger to stop. Now we arrived at the supercharger in Orléans, and yeah, there are about 10-15 stalls, and you see there is a hotel nearby, a Hotel Ibis, but not much more than this. Yeah, it's a little of the highway. So, well, yes, I would give it 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah, it's nothing great. So this is the morning of our last day. We are in Chambray-le-Tour, and here you can see we are the only Tesla in the supercharger. There are 24 stalls, and it seems to be a shopping center here. It's a little bit off the highway, and yeah, I would give it 3 out of 5 stars. There's also a shopping center nearby, which is closed now, as it is 8 o'clock in the morning. Here at Niort, there are 10 stalls, and it is a Ibis hotel here. It's a little bit off the highway, so I would give it only 2 of 5 stars. Yeah. We are now in Bordeaux, Lac. There are several sites for Tesla superchargers in Bordeaux, and yeah, it is a very big shopping center here, and it also has IKEA. You can see it here, yeah, and Auchan is behind me, very big. It's a huge parking area here, so it was very difficult to find the supercharger here. Finally found it. Yeah, you have services here, so you have the Auchan at the side, so I would give this supercharger 5 of 5 stars. Yeah, it's completely okay. We are here at the supercharger in Bayonne. It is at the Hotel Lordiac. You have to know this, because the navigation will lead you not to the hotel. It will give you a way around it. So you have to know that the supercharger is in the hotel. Yeah? And yeah, it's behind the hotel, so you cannot see it from the street. Yeah, it's okay. You have some shops here nearby, McDonald's and restaurants, and yeah, it's okay. Yes. Yeah, here we are again at Miranda de Ebro, and we were on the way to Oslo. We already stopped here, so on our way back to Madrid as well, because there are not so many superchargers in Spain. And yeah, well, it's very hot now. About 33 degrees, and still temperature is rising. So this is definitely the last supercharger on our trip. It's Aranda de Duero, and yeah, we'll have 10 minutes here, and then we are back in Madrid. It was a long trip here, and well, Aranda de Duero has about 10 stalls, and it has a restaurant nearby and a hotel. So I would give it 4 or 5 stars. And well, yes, we have still an hour left to Madrid, and then we will call it a day. Yeah, and it was a very interesting trip. I have learned a lot about the Tesla and driving the Tesla, and about the Navigate-on-autopilot. Yeah, my experience with Navigate-on-autopilot is very good. I could not have done the trip without the function. Yeah, it is so comfortable and so safe to drive it with the Navigate-on-autopilot, and yeah, it's completely different from a normal car or from normal lane keep assistant or something like this. It's much better, but you have to pay attention. Yeah, 99% of the time it's working fine, but then suddenly you have the phantom braking, yeah, and you have to pay attention, yeah. And also when you want to do a line change, sometimes it just did not do it. It started and then it stopped and came back to the lane, and yeah, there are some strange things, but I'm sure they will solve it in the future. Yeah? So overall, it was a great experience, and I could not have done it without the Tesla Model 3 long range. Yeah. Overall, it was about 36 hours driving from Oslo to Madrid in 3 days, of course. And I was not driving all the time. There was also my wife driving. So yeah. And yeah, it was quite a nice experience. It was an adventure. I would not do it every year, but once in a lifetime you can do a trip from Madrid to Oslo. Finally, we are at home. It's 9 o'clock and it was a long journey. Thank you for watching the video, and goodbye. Till the next trip. Perhaps from Lisbon to Helsinki, who knows? Just joking.